Hi friends, welcome to Civil Services Main Mock 3, that is General Studies Paper 3 Analysis. Friends, as you know that according to the latest pattern and syllabus of changed General Studies question paper, there are 4 papers in Civil Services Main Examination: GS 1, 2, 3 and 4. We have seen the analysis of GS paper 1 and paper 2 in the previous sessions, and now this session is about General Studies paper 3, and that is mock 3 as well. Friends, you know well, or you are well informed, that General Studies paper 3 mainly comprises of the following topics like economic development, technology. It is written technology, but we consider as science and technology both. Biodiversity, environment, internal security and disaster management. If we see the breakup of this question paper, especially the topic wise breakup of the question paper, we'll find that the maximum number of questions are from economic development. Hence it can be said that this is the most important section of this question paper. Economic development comprises of the questions mainly from the economic development in India, their problems, constraints in Indian economy, some current challenges of economy like rupee depreciation or the widening current account deficit, etc. There are some questions which are about the positive or the analytical aspect of the Indian economy like financial inclusion and MGNREGA or other employment generation programs. So we can see here that the economic development, there are 13 questions of 200 words, each carrying 10 marks, and one question of 100 words carrying 5 marks. Thus, we can see that out of 250 questions, there are 135, means more than 50% questions are from economic development. Now the second topic is the technology, or more precisely is science and technology. There are 3 questions of 200 words carrying 10 marks each, and 3 questions of 100 words carrying 5 marks each. Basically in technology we can see the application of the technology. The questions are not based on general science, but they are based on general technology, or they can be defined in the best way as the application of the technology. Thus 45 marks for technology. Then it comes biodiversity and environment. You have seen for last some years that ecology, environment and biodiversity have given more emphasis in pre-exams and main examination as well. So it has no less importance other than in comparison to other section. Biodiversity and environment has no less importance. Here we can see that there are 5 questions of 200 words each carrying 10 marks each. It means 50 questions for biodiversity and environment. Then comes the internal security. In internal security, basically we see the internal threat and the threat to internal security or the integration of the nation, and the cyber security. Especially they have mentioned the cyber security in the detailed syllabus, and in last year question paper they have asked the UPSC has asked a question on cyber security and internal security as well. So as far as this topic is concerned, there is a single question of 200 words, 10 marks. Then comes the disaster management, a topic we cannot negate since we are seeing continuous disasters in India and in word also. So this topic also remains quite important, and here we carry a single question with 200 marks, 200 words with 200 words with 10 marks. So here we can see that 23 questions are 200 words carrying 10 marks each, thus 230 marks, and there are 4 questions of 100 words only carrying 5 marks each, thus 5 for the 20 marks for the 100 words question. So this was the overall breakup and the general analysis of the question paper. Now we'll start from the question number 1 and we'll discuss each and every question in detail. One most important thing that since we have provided all applicants or all aspirants who are writing career launcher main mock test series, we have provided the solution in Hindi and English both mediums. So basically we would not discuss the points which are mentioned in the solution itself. We will discuss in general analysis some points other than the covered in the solution. Okay friends, let us start with question number 1. Question number 1 is of economic development based on the financial inclusion. The question reads, with a consideration towards the strategy of inclusive growth, a new scheme of financial inclusion has been launched under the name of Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana. Discuss the challenges expected in its implementation in right earnest. So friends, this question is of financial inclusion, more especially about the scheme which was launched on 15th August 2014 under the name of Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana. Its slogan is Mera Khata Bhagya Vidhata. It is most intensive financial inclusion plan in India. The features of this scheme is to open bank accounts for the population which has been excluded from the financial inclusion. But this question demands about the challenges expected in its implementation. So the point of the question is that we have to discuss the challenges and problems, not the features of this question. Many candidates wrote in answer sheet about the features and characteristics of the question. In fact, characteristics and features of Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana. So first of all, you have to understand the point or the axis where the question rotates. Let us discuss challenges or problems facing in the implementation of Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana in 2-3 points, because rest of all points are mentioned here. The most important challenge which is being faced by this scheme is, in a recent revelation, the financial secretary has accepted, he has admitted that under this scheme almost 25% accounts are repeat account. It means the beneficiaries who have opened their accounts already, they are reopening accounts under this scheme. That is most important challenge. Apart from it, there are pitfalls rolling out this scheme without adequate infrastructure, because it seems that the all machinery is in a haste. They are hasting to open the accounts, and there is a lag between the infrastructure and the effect. Apart from it, there are difficulties in opening of accounts due to beneficiaries verification. Lots of beneficiaries are ghost beneficiaries. They are registered under multiple accounts, and moreover, as per as one special character of this scheme is that each and every beneficiary will get a cover of insurance. Still it is not clear that who or which body is going to pay for the premium of the insurance for the accidental cover and life insurance. So these are some problems: repeat account, lack of infrastructure, lack of verification, existence of the ghost beneficiaries, and some points which are not clearly mentioned in this scheme. They are the challenges expected in the implementation of Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana in right earnest. Okay, now come to the next question, question number 2. Question number 2 is based on biodiversity and environment. Excessive exploitation of natural resources in the name of the speedy clearances will only ensure a grim future. Analyze the way this has been impacting the harmony between the growth and the environment sustainability. Okay, this question again 200 words, 10 marks, of biodiversity and environment. So friends, this question, the requirement of this question is that is speedy environmental clearance of the development projects is necessity of time, or it is going to ensure a grim future. There are 2 or 3 important points with some examples, like economic growth needs good physical infrastructure for the construction of roads, railways, dams, and the like. Apart from it, also essential is mineral extraction, which often involves mining, quarrying, and drilling. But excessive exploitation of natural resources in the name of speedy clearances will only ensure a grim future. This is the point. Hence, the participation of various stakeholders such as non-governmental organizations, environmentalists, panchayats, and citizens is essential to ensure that there is a consultative and constructive decision-making process and harmony between growth and environment sustainability. Some recent examples are, you have read that a panel appointed by the Union Ministry of Environment and Forests to recommend measures to protect the Western Ghats has objected to proposed power projects in the region. Further, the Western Ghats Ecology Expert Panel in its report has asked the ministry not to give environmental clearance to 2 specific projects. One is Gundia Hydroelectric Power Project in Karnataka and Athirapilli Dam on the Chalkudi River in Trichur district of Kerala. Madhav Gadgil Committee on Conservation of Western Ghats has rejected the clearance by Ministry of Environment and Forests. Moreover, eco-sensitive zones have been demarked in Western Ghats in eco-sensitive zone 1, 2 and 3. Apart from it, the Western Ghat Ecology Expert Report has also dwelt on illegal mining in Goa. So in a nutshell, we can see that there must not be any type of hurry or haste. Any decision must not be taken in haste while giving the clearance for any project. All aspects or multifaceted aspects of all sides of development must be considered. So this was question number 2. Question 3. Again a question of Indian economy, or the problem or the recent problem faced by Indian economy. The question reads, a widening current account deficit strains the country's foreign exchange reserves as well as the value of its currency. Taking India as an example, discuss how India's current account deficit had been widening, raising fears over its economic health. First of all, in one or two line, we have to provide what is CAD, what is current account deficit. A country's current account deficit, or current account, in fact, a country's current account consists of its visible and invisible trade. In visible trade, it is exports and imports of goods, and invisible trade, income and expenditure from export and import of services such as banking and insurance, and profits earned on investment and remittances by workers. These all comprises current account. Now what is the current account deficit? CAD is the difference between inflow and outflow of foreign currency, and deficit widens when imports are greater than export. And since India always faces a trade imbalance, means India's imports are always more than export, hence there is a continuous current account deficit. The most important reason is that India is not meeting the huge demand of import. Production is less, and hence it depends on imports mainly for the petroleum and crude oil products. So what are the implications of the large current account gap? The most important point is that deficit on the current account means a net outflow of foreign exchange. In India's case, this means a dollar outgo. Such a deficit could exhaust a country's forex reserves. Its inflows to make up the deficit do not materialize. Moreover, a country with a current account deficit has to attract capital inflows, which could be in form of FDI, etc. But the problem is that when capital flows are insufficient to meet the deficit, the country's currency starts to depreciate on concerns that it may find it difficult to meet its international commitment or fund its current purchases. This is why a current account deficit in excess of 2.5% of GDP is seen as worrisome in case of India. For example, we can see that in the last fiscal, despite getting higher capital inflows, the country is likely to have an overall balance of payments deficit because of much higher current account deficit. Okay, what are the measures to tackle it? India's large current account deficit has been fueled by heavy gold and crude oil imports. Eventually, the rupee depreciation has served as an automatic check on gold imports by making the yellow metal expensive. To discourage the widening current account deficit, government has decided to curb on gold import and other measures has been taken. As a result, the current account deficit is expected to drop only marginally to about 3.5% of GDP. For a sharper decline, India will need to push exports and slow down consumption imports such as fuel and gold, raising diesel prices, for instance, will help curb demand. Now come to question number 4. In future, millions of people would face starvation as an indirect result of the violent turmoil in the Middle East, which has put Fertile Crescent in danger. Comment. Some introduction about Fertile Crescent. The Fertile Crescent is a crescent-shaped region containing the comparatively moist and fertile land of Western Asia and the Nile Valley and Nile Delta of Northeast Africa. With climate change and rise in industrial monoculture farming, scientists and farmers increasingly dependent on wild crop species of sustainable crop development, especially the wild crops which are found in this Fertile Crescent. But the ongoing conflicts raging across the Middle East are putting the Earth's essential food stock at dire risk. The scientists have identified key global hotspots for wild crop species known as crop wild relatives or CWRs, which are distantly related to domesticated crops. According to the group of scientists, these species are most concentrated in the area of the Middle East known as the Fertile Crescent. Because globally, the highest concentration of CWR per unit area is found within the borders of Syria, Lebanon, Jordan, and Israel. This can put the ongoing conflict or the vulnerability of the wild crops concentrated in the Fertile Crescent and the ongoing conflict, incessant wars can put these crops on a risk. Question 5. How technology can help Indian farmers to contain climate change? Explain with suitable examples. There are some examples which are mentioned in the solution. I am providing you some more. How Indian farmers can use the technology, or how technology can be helpful for Indian farmers to tackle or to contain the climate change. There are some more technology, like after the harvesting of paddy crops, the paddy remains are burnt and thus they pollute the environment and often create a thick grey smog over cities, for example like Delhi. When the paddy remains after the harvesting are burnt around Delhi, there is a black smog over Delhi. To tackle this, to avoid burning crops, one technology known as happy seeders have been introduced. These are attachments mounted on tractors that help sow wheat even when the paddy residue is still standing on the fields. It means we do not need to burn the paddy remains. Leaving the crop residue in the fields help increase the organic matter, better controlling moisture and temperature levels. Apart from it, installing a micro weather station in field is also a solution. By doing this, they can monitor the weather. One more is climate smart technology, which tries to mitigate the impact of changing weather patterns. One more technology is known as laser land leveling. What is done in laser land leveling? In laser land leveling, these are laser control devices which are mounted on tractors, and these help farmers level the land into a flat surface. This method of tilling helps them save 20 to 25 to 30% of water during cultivation. These are few technologies which are helpful for Indian farmers to contain the climate. So friends, this was question number 5 from technology. Now come to question number 6. For some past years, the Indian rupee has fallen against the US dollar, which is one of the biggest declines among Asian currencies. Critically analyze the main reasons for the steady slump in the value of India's currency. So friends, as you know, again a problem of Indian economy. The question is based on this topic. Since July 2011, the Indian rupee has fallen by more than 27% against the US dollar, which is one of the biggest declines among Asian currencies. And when we discuss the main reasons behind it, it can be enumerated as following. Number one is a high trade deficit. What is the reason behind it? Since India is mainly importing country, it means it imports more goods than it exports. There is a huge or high trade deficit. This is a reason. The second one is lower capital inflow. The inflow of capital or the inner capital formation is low. The third one is high current account deficit. Due to reason 1 and 2, CAD has increased. Fourth reason is devaluation pressure. Due to devaluation pressure, more people tend to sell rupees to buy dollars or any other foreign currency because the rupee was continuously weakening. Another factor is lower growth and high rate of inflation, and then it comes the rupee speculation. In rupee speculation, the Reserve Bank of India's bid to sell dollars in the open market to restrict the rupee slide failed, and it complicated the situation further. So these 6 were major reasons behind rupee's fall. Come to question number 7. Malnutrition in India, as in other developing countries, results from a series of interrelated factors. Discuss the need for urgent policy interventions in the redesigning and implementation of existing policies in order to mitigate malnutrition related issues in India. So here the question is very straight, not analytical. The points are worth mentioning here, which reads that according to a report released by UNICEF, the cases of malnutrition in India are more common than in sub-Saharan regions. According to this report, almost 33% children of the malnourished live in India. And in spite of India's economic development and development in other fields in some past decades, the situation of malnutrition has been excessively worrying. Now, some measures, some remedy to get rid over of the malnutrition. According to this point, the most urgent is to change policy, in which all are included that expanding the scale to cover more population under this scheme, to monitor and supervise accordingly all nutritional programs in India like midday meal schemes, ICDS programs, etc. These all are need to be monitored. There is a famous saying about India that India is the only country when the children die of malnutrition and obesity both. So this was question number 7. Now come to question number 8. Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act, or MGNREGA, has often been criticized for generating assets of inferior quality, yet the Union Budget of India for the year 2014-15 has reposed its faith in the MGNREGA comment. So, in spite of being criticized on different Loopholes of MGNREGA program. Government has shown its keen interest in continuation of this program because MGNREGA is the largest employment generation program in India. It has equalized the wages of rural labor. It has checked the migration, especially the rural migration, because it has provided employment at local level. Though it's true that under MGNREGA the quality works are not done, but still there are some more benefits of MGNREGA that is very important. Moreover, it has moved towards the environmental sustainability, like the pond or the lake works which are done under the MGNREGA. The ponds are dig, the groundwater level is recharged during monsoon, and other benefits have been seen. So MGNREGA has contributed to increased in different aspects or in different means development in rural India. It has empowered the weaker sections and has given them a new sense of identity and bargaining power. Question number 9, very straightforward, very informational question, just information based. Write a short note on eradication of polio and other diseases in India. So friends, all of you know only 3 countries have been described as polio endemic by World Health Organization, and these 3 countries are Pakistan, Afghanistan and Nigeria. India got a certificate about the polio eradication by World Health Organization on 27th March 2014. And when we discuss about the India's UIP, Universal Immunization Program, then it is one of the world's largest immunization program, and under Indian UIP 9 types of diseases have been covered. They are both viral and both bacteria borne diseases, and these diseases are especially prone to children. They are diphtheria, pertussis, tetanus, polio, tuberculosis, measles, hepatitis B, JE or Japanese encephalitis and meningitis. These are some information about the UIP. Apart from it, polio eradication, India has reached a landmark since the criteria to declare polio free country is not a single case within 3 years. From 2011 to 2014, no new case of polio has been reported in India, and in this way India got the citation of polio free country. Again, a question from science, general science, or you can say general science and technology. Question is very interesting and very information based only. 20th century was century of antibiotics, and 21st will be of antibiotic resistance. So the discovery of antibiotics was one of the most important invention of 20th century. Antibiotics saved millions of lives. That's why 20th century was known as the century of, or the age of antibiotics. But in 21st century, situation has been changed. Large or huge number of reports have been published about the antibiotic resistance. For example, some medicines like carbapenem was known as the last resort, is now failing. It's not treating the diseases. Same with some famous drugs, like a disease gonorrhea is not able to treat further now because the bacteria which cause these diseases, they have developed the resistance to the excessive use of antibiotics. These are some common concerns about the antibiotic resistance, in which it is a fear that 21st century will be known as the age of antibiotic resistance. So this is question number 9, age of antibiotic resistance. 10, in the recent past, Indian economy has run out of counter-cyclical policy ammunition. Discuss in detail what would be the plausible measures to revive Indian economy in a short run. So when we talk about to revive Indian economy in short run, there are 2-3 main important points. To cut imports, to emphasis on domestic saving, to attract more FDI, to act towards generation of more capital, to attract more capital inflow. These 2, 3, 4 points are ardent or the need of the time. Apart from it, while discussing the remedy measures to revive Indian economy in short run, it can be clearly said that the ability of the new government to lift a staggering economy through grown supportive measures is limited. Why? Because in recent past, India faced many types of challenges: high inflation, high CAD, low rate of FDI, etc. Slump in manufacturing and construction sector, poor monsoon, poor domestic production, poor domestic saving, etc. Because of high inflation and deficits in the economy, fast-tracking delayed projects in sectors such as iron ore and coal mining is the only way to propel growth and create jobs in Asia's third largest economy. Other than this measure, the monetary and fiscal instruments like cutting on the curving in rates or the trimming in other measures to control the monetary policy and other financial instruments, there is also a need of time. Apart from it, timely clearance and timely completion or the accomplishment of the projects in pipeline and resolving iron ore and coal mining issues, because they are the major energy fueling sectors. If the coal mine issues are not solved, there would be energy crisis India is already facing. So these are some measures to tackle India's counter-cyclical policy ammunition, to tackle the problem of counter-cyclical policy ammunition in short run. Question 11. Raising levels of carbon dioxide causes more acidification to cold water than warm water. How ocean acidification is known to be at the core of destabilizing the ecosystem. So, this question about climate change or environment, rising level of carbon dioxide in atmosphere. This results the dissolving of atmospheric carbon dioxide into seawater, which causes the acidification of water, more of cold water than warm water, and the acidification of water increases the amount of carbonic acid in ocean. The instant effect is faced by the bleaching of the corals. What is the reason? Because why acidification of cold water is faster than warm water? Because the rate of absorption of carbon dioxide by cold water is more than warm water. That's why the ocean around the polar regions are experiencing much faster rates of acidification than tropical areas, because at polar region the water is colder in comparison to the water at the equatorial region. These are some effects of the ocean acidification. Question 12. Dumping of biomedical waste is acquiring a dangerous dimension. If not channelized, it may lead to several diseases. Discuss. Biomedical wastes from life-saving centers like hospitals, clinics are increasing and that is a grave concern. Grave concern because they can contain the disease causing germs, the infected left out of the patients, some organs, infected needles, vaccines, other instruments, catheters, etc. They may be human parts of human body also, or the other animal fluids. If the proper and channelized recycling or the destruction of these wastes are not done, they can infect a further fresh and healthy population. So these are major grave concerns, and according to the safe disposal of biomedical waste is now a legal requirement as per the Biomedical Waste Management and Handling Rules 1998 in India. So it must be implemented in that way. Now come to question number 13. Poverty reduction and economic growth can be sustained only if natural resources are managed on a sustainable basis. Discuss. Poverty eradication means making people self-sufficient, especially economic self-sufficient, for which there are different measures. It may be the employment generation, self-employment, or other means of livelihood. Directly or indirectly, we depend on natural resources for our livelihood. So, if we want to conserve the natural resources or to exploit the natural resources the way we want to eradicate the poverty, then there must be a coherent way. So, the vicious cycle of poverty can be break only when we manage wisely the natural resources. Our development must be sustainable. Our policies or all our future projects must be sustainable in nature. The implementation and after effects we can see especially in tribal areas. If the natural resources of the tribal people are not managed wisely, poverty eradication cannot be done. Ecosystem services, which are very beneficial for human beings and other living organisms, they must be conserved, because we cannot monitor, cannot calculate the monetary value of the ecosystem services. 14. Industrial policy 1956 transformed the Indian economy substantially from agriculture to an industrial economy. Elucidate. One or two lines from the history. After independence, it was need of the time to implement the 5-year plans to develop India. In 1950, first 5-year plan was declared and it was introduced in 1951. The first duration of the first 5-year plan was 1951 to 1956. Meanwhile, at that time India was an agricultural country in which more than 70% of its population was engaged in agriculture. When first phase of the 5-year plans passed out, then it was felt by the policymakers that now it's time to make India industrialized, and it was the second 5-year plan which gave emphasis on the industrialization of the India, and multiple power projects were laid down during this period. That's why Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru called them the temples of modern India. That was a need, because for the development, an agricultural economy must switch or shift towards the industrialized and service sector based economy, because the growth rate of industry, manufacturing, construction, service sector is quite high than the growth rate of the agricultural and allied sectors. That's why industrial policy 1956 transformed India's nature of economy, that was agricultural based, to industrial based economy, and it was a substantial change. Some points of question number 14. Now question number 15. Though India is rich in cultural heritage and ethnicity, yet the increasing radicalization in neighboring countries has become a cause of concern for its social ethos and internal security. Critically analyze. Before starting this question, just there are some points to ponder about India, its diversity, and its neighboring countries. India itself is a pluralist country. There are diverse culture in different states. There is diversity at large level. It is based on the caste, creed, religion, ethnicity, language, etc. Traditions, culture, all are different. Still, in India's neighboring countries, the political instability, the ethnic differences in India's neighboring countries, whether it is Sri Lanka, Nepal, Bangladesh, Pakistan, Tibet, China, Afghanistan, all these countries, and especially in the terms of the diversities which they are facing, the radicalization and the fundamentalization of these diversities are creating a threat for India's internal security. We can see the cross-border terrorism, the cross-border infiltration, the Tamil problems in Sri Lanka, the problem of migrants from Bangladesh in West Bengal and Assam, the problems which we face from cross-border from Nepal, from Pakistan or Afghanistan. So we can see that the diverse ethnic differences across Indian subcontinent, if not tackled well, then it can be a threat for the India's internal security as well, because India is not free from the upheaval in its continent. India is not free any type of upheaval in Indian subcontinent. Question 16. This question is based on disaster management. Did we learn the solution we require from Ladakh, Uttarakhand and recent Jammu and Kashmir natural disasters? What could be the level of preparedness and mitigation against future natural disasters? So first of all, the recurring events of disasters, mainly in hilly and mountain region and at coastal regions in India. The question asks that did we learn anything? What is our preparation for the situation and what is the level of mitigation? The flash floods of Ladakh in 2010, then Uttarakhand disaster in 2013, and very recent flash flood of Jammu Kashmir, especially the Kashmir Valley. Did we learn anything? So the solution needs at many levels. First, we have to segregate the sensitive and vulnerable points. We have to develop the strategy and policy according to the areas which are very prone for disasters, seasonal disaster, for flash floods, for cyclones, for typhoons, for tornado, for floods and for droughts. And we have to work on an integrated, separate and special character based policies and procedures. Apart from it, the preparedness must be at different levels. At one level must be on the basis of the early warning system, again on the preparation, then mitigation, then the supply chain, etc. Simultaneously, we have to rely on the relief and rescue preparedness also. We have to develop an SOS call for all such regions which work 24/7 during threat period. If we did not learn, we have to learn. 17. Mixed economy is an outcome of the compromise between laissez-faire capitalism and socialist state control of resources. Elaborate and mention the salient features of the mixed economy. As all of you know that mixed economy, India is a type of mixed economy in which the public and private sectors coexist. After the fall of the socialist and communist model of the world economies, especially the USSR, number of countries adopted the mixed economy policy to avoid the extreme effects of laissez-faire and totalitarian control of the state over economy. Rest all are the salient features of mixed economy which are mentioned here. The most important feature of a mixed economy is economic planning. There is a well formulated plan mechanism which is worked by a welfare state. The plan can vary mid-term or short-term or long-term. Mixed economy also allows the existence of private enterprises. There may be the PPP model of developments. Joint sector and cooperative sector also exist in mixed economy, etc. 18. Agitation for the demand of smaller states is frequent these days. Examine the implications of their creation on the Indian economy. The implication of the creation of smaller states, the recent event of Telangana, apart from it there are different regions where the demand of the separate or the smaller states are in news, like the division of Uttar Pradesh, creation of Vidarbha, Bodoland, Gorkhaland, etc. The issue of distribution of common natural resources such as river water may cause conflict among states due to their local need and politics. So the division of natural resources is the most important problem which can be faced by different states. Distribution of forest, land, water, minerals, etc. Apart from it, creation of more number of smaller states can create barrier against the development of country as an integrated economic unit. Question 19, part A. Write a short note on radiation treatment of eye cancers. Just information based question, nothing to be analyzed. What occurs in the conventional treatment of eye cancer? There the malfunctioning cells or tumor or the infected part or portion of the eye is removed. But recent development in the radiation based treatment of eye cancer, the tumors or the cells are killed by using the radiations. Most recent invention is by Bark. Bark made iodine 125 ocuprosta seed is an ideal scalpel which is used in the treatment of retinoblastoma and VL tract melanoma, in which iodine 125 is used to treat on the basis of the radiations. Briefly discuss that how India can achieve fifth goal of MDG, Millennium Development Goals. There are 8 goals and the deadline to meet the goals is the year 2015. The fifth goal is to reduce the mortality rate, infant mortality rate and the maternal mortality rate. or in terms of providing a holistic health model. Problem is that India continues to battle poverty, child and maternal deaths, and all these types of deaths are high. For this, we have to give on emphasis on UIP like programs. Universal immunization programs must be given more emphasis. Proper health and hygiene can ensure the better result. For this, India has to be more focused and with cumulative approach. Question 20. Agro-industry is regarded as an extended arm of agriculture. The broad-based development of this industry can improve both the social and physical infrastructure of India. Comment. Agro-industry. India is still 60%, almost 60% of population is engaged in the agricultural and allied activities. At one hand, agro-industry provides employment to a large chunk of population. On other hand, it also ensures the exploitation of the natural resources. So there must be a coherent equilibrium between the exploitation of the natural resources and the development and employment generation. To give an impetus to agro-industry, we have apply a broad-based development of this industry which is more sustainable in nature, like to give emphasis to the cottage industries or the industries which are based on the cash crops. We have to less count on such crops which are based on the monsoon. We have to implement the use of the technology, facilitation of the availability of the credit, etc. Discuss how e-governance and automation can act as an essential tool for ending corruption. Okay, the question is based on e-governance or indirectly the technology. To get rid of red tapeism, to make more accountability, to ensure more transparency, e-governance can be a tool. We have seen like Lokbani, e-Seva, SWAN type of programs which have ensured the transparency and accountability up to such extent. Apart from it, e-governance can help in broadening, facilitating and deepening openness among the citizen involvement. Deeper the penetration of e-governance among the public, more would be its functioning in order to curb corruption, as the transparency and accountability would be enhanced. Question 22. What were the main proposals of Financial Sector Legislative Reforms Commission? What are the criticisms against the proposals? This question is also mainly information based, but we have to discuss the whole. Financial Sector Legislative Reforms Commission is a body set up by the Government of India under retired Justice Shri B.N. Krishna. It has proposed a sector neutral Indian Financial Code to replace multiple and old financial sector laws, splitting the regulation between the Reserve Bank of India and a new unified financial agency that will now oversee the remaining financial sectors. The proposed unified financial sector regulator would subsume, repeal every existing law that deals with sector regulators like SEBI, IRDA, PARDA and also some functions of the Forward Market Commission. Apart from it, a financial sector appellate tribunal will hear appeals against all financial sector regulators. And when we look on the criticism, as per the Reserve Bank of India, the setting of two entities, one, a new super regulator, the Unified Financial Regulatory Agency, and two, a financial sector appellate tribunal to review regulatory decisions, would make an entire exercise a very time consuming process.
This will also dilute the functions of Reserve Bank of India. The enhanced role, if given to ill-equipped and inexperienced appellate tribunal, will undermine the role of regulators and paralyze the system. These are some criticism of this point. Question 22. The growing use of smart consumer products and hence the reach of internet connectivity is a kind of development which is raising cyber security risks. Explain. We have seen the rising events of the cyber security threats or the cyber security breaches, especially in financial sector. So the explanation can be read as that with the growing use of smartphones and internet connections, the cyber and phishing attacks mainly aimed at stealing money or intellectual property has exposed the user to a huge data bank of information regarding everything and anything. Cybersecurity is critical for strategic security and the economic growth of the nation. According to cyber experts, the highest rates of cyber crimes are found in areas with uninterrupted internet connectivity in India. Innovative applications like smart cars, connected homes, smart metering, remote management and industrial data collection would be the major cause of concern not only in India but worldwide. Given the increasing dependency of the Indian economic and financial institutions on information technology, a cyber attack against them might lead to an irreparable collapse of our economic structure. One more point, only a legislation is not enough to successfully counter the cyber crime, but a huge investment on skilled manpower and constant technical advancement is also needed. A major public awareness campaign to educate people on the threats and precautions must be carried out. Question 24. The persistent loss and decline of biodiversity is leading humanity to early days of planet's sixth mass biological extinction event. Explain. According to a latest report by World Wildlife Fund for Nature, in last 50 years the rate of extinction was highest. The rate of extinction of biodiversity. Last century has witnessed the danger of extinction of species at a large scale. And when we analyze the situation from the sixth mass extinction, we find that the rate of the extinction of species has been doubled or tripled. Especially large animals, large mammals, large carnivores have the huge rate of extinction. The primary reason for the extinction is loss of habitat, global climate disruption and changing in behavior of human population. Question 25. Elucidate in what ways small industries help stimulate economic growth by providing employment opportunities to larger local people as compared to large industries and in turn stabilize economy on a larger scale. Again, very straight question about Indian economic development. Importance of smaller industries. The small scale industries contribute a lot to the progress of the Indian economy and they have also a great potential for future development of the economy. Being labor intensive, they provide a large scope of employment on a massive scale. It is important for a country like India, which is a labor surplus economy and where labor force is increasing at a very rapid rate. The importance of small industries cannot be neglected. Small industries employ more labor per unit of capital for a given output compared to the large scale industries. Small scale sector accounts for as much as 80% of the total employment in the industrial sector. Moreover, these industries are especially suited for overcoming various types of employment in the rural and semi-urban areas. With little capital and other resources, they can be set up everywhere in the country. Small farmers and agricultural workers can combine their work in agriculture along with small and micro industries. These industries also provide part-time as well as full-time occupancy to rural artisans, women, and to the poor segment of the backward classes. Many small industries are dependent for their inputs on locally available articles, and it creates more employment with respect to the production of those articles. One more point, by promoting these industries, it is possible to preserve the inherited skill of artisans which otherwise might disappear. So friend, this was all over the analysis of GS paper 3. Thank you so much.